Part 21. General Xie, who is called Ghost Sees Sorrow, had admired Prince Duan. In the splendid palace of Suishi King Court, a young man unfolded the cloth in front of him. Only glanced at the writing on it, and then his face became serious. He looked at the spy kneeling in front of him, knocked on the cloth on the table with his knuckles, and asked thoughtfully, "Is what is written on it true?" "King Khan, what is written on it is all true, and my subordinates dare not have a lie," the spy said decisively. "The 14th Prince of Dayan Country is now in Liangcheng." Tuo Bahong laughed lightly, then turned his head to look at Tuo Ren, who was sitting at the bottom left, King Hunnel. "What do you think about this?" Tuo Ren's face was pale, and after hearing the words, he coughed for a while before he calmed down. His pale face was covered with a thin layer of blush because of the cough. He was a member of the royal family of the Suishi country and the younger brother of the Khan King Tuo Bahong. The first warrior of the Suishi country has been in bad health since he was injured and defeated in the first battle 5 years ago. Tuo Bahong heard a cough. Thinking of the years when his brave and good brother was tortured by illness, his face was a little ugly. If it wasn't for that battle, his younger brother should still be galloping on the battlefield. Maybe Liangcheng would have been captured by them long ago. Next, but now, the first warrior of the Suishi country has been destroyed like this, and he has become an eagle with broken wings, and it is difficult to even mount a horse. He sighed with regret, and said with concern, "Why do you keep coughing again and don't get better? I'll let the doctor take a look for you later." Tuo Ren waved his hand and took a sip of tea before saying, "No need, it's all about it. It's an old problem, it's not like you don't know it, it's useless for the doctor to come." Tuo Bahong remembered the source of all this, slammed his fist on the table, snorted coldly, and gritted his teeth. "Xie Yisho. Sooner or later this king wants to break your corpse into tens of thousands of pieces and avenge you. I will personally avenge this revenge." Tuo Ren sneered. No one can know better than him how he came here in the past 5 years. His own revenge is naturally to be avenged. He will not fake his hands on others, but will catch him with his own hands, so that he can't live or die, and let him taste the pain he has suffered over the years. For this stubborn younger brother who would not change his mind easily once he made a decision, Tuo Bahong had nothing to do. He simply ignored it and asked the question, "What do you think about the 14th Prince Duan being entrusted to Liangzhou by Emperor Dayan? Is Brother King trying to do something about Prince Duan?" "Exactly." Tuo Bahong nodded. "Prince Duan is from Dayan Country, the emperor's 14th son. I heard that he is very popular with the emperor of Dayan Country. Although I don't know why the emperor of Dayan Country would entrust his son to Liangzhou, but this is not the case. It is indeed an opportunity for us. If we can seize Prince Duan and use it to blackmail the emperor of Dayan Country, won't the conditions be left to us at that time?" Tuo Ren also agreed with this. "It's just that this Prince Duan is huddled in Liangcheng, and there are guards to protect him. It's not easy for us to succeed. It's impossible for this person to stay in Liangcheng forever. As long as he leaves the city, don't be afraid of not being able to catch him." Tuo Bahong thought about it, and said with a strong attitude, "Even if he does not leave the city, we will send a large army from Suishi country. As long as we capture Liangcheng and capture Prince Duan alive, we will not be afraid. The emperor of Dayan Country will not submit." Tuo Ren frowned. Even though he said that, only he understood that it was not easy to conquer this cool city. 5 years ago, they were almost able to take Liangcheng, but they were disrupted by the Red Robe army led by Xie Yisho. That is, at that time, he was shot by Xie Yisho and almost died in the underworld of Hades or Hell, and finally recovered and come alive. Today's Red Robe Army is no longer the Red Robe Army of the past, and it is impossible to want to be like a no man's land like back then. Tuo Bahong seemed to have seen through his concerns. And his heart was stuffy. When did his younger brother even change his temperament? Unlike their Swashi country's hero, he became more and more indecisive and looked ahead. Since we were able to attack the city 5 years ago, we can do it this time. Brother King was afraid of the battle 5 years ago and lost the courage of the #1 warrior of Swashi country. Tuoba Ren was stimulated by these words. He clenched his fists. His face flushed red. Under this excitement, he couldn't help coughing again. Tuoba Ren was not in good health, so he shouldn't have said this to irritate him. However, as soon as the words came out, there was no room to take them back. After a long time, Tuoba Ren stopped coughing. He stood up and said, "King Khan, this Prince Duan will be handed over to the younger brother. No matter what method. The minister will capture him alive and hand it over to you. If not, the minister will come to apologize." Tuoba Ren bowed and left without looking back. Master Wen has been lingering in the Chinese army tent for most of the day. It is already night, but he has no plans to leave. He paced back and forth, sometimes shaking his head, sometimes thinking, and sometimes looking at Xie Yisho and sighing. But Xie Yisho's cold face didn't seem to exist at all in his eyes. Xie Yisho finally couldn't bear it anymore, put down the book in his hand, and gave him a cold look. "If you have anything to say, just say it." Xie Yisho's tolerance for this military aide who has been doing nothing all day has reached the highest point. The general had already spoken, and Master Wen finally stopped, looking at Xie Yisho like a fairy. After a while, he grabbed the mustache that he had managed to keep, and asked leisurely, "Why is the general so good at talking after going out? It really doesn't look like General Xie, who is called Ghost Sees Sorrow. Did you meet someone or something during this trip?" If the gossip on his face was ignored, others would think he was caring about people. He also heard the personal soldiers talk about their generals, and it seemed that something was wrong. But what was wrong? Everyone can't speak. Xie Yisho has always been calm and self-controlled. Also, he should not be moved by foreign objects. However, after Xie Yisho came back, he brought back a message saying that he was going to fight against Prince Duan's guard camp. This shocked his jaw off. Okay? Isn't this confrontation exercise just to accompany the prince to study? What kind of person is Xie Yisho? He never bowed his head for officials and dignitaries. How could he agree to accompany His Royal Highness Prince Duan to train for no reason? He is really puzzled. Curiosity killed the cat. If these problems are not solved, he can't eat or sleep well. He has to figure it out. Xie Yisho's face was already dark. "I have nothing to do, you have time to stay here. I think you have already arranged the 3-month food and grass expenses for the soldiers?" Master Wen smiled and said, "It's not urgent. It's just that Prince Duan made us spar." "So you really didn't get half of the benefits, General? What kind of identity is Prince Duan? The Emperor's rewards are a lot. It takes half a month, right? Since he begged before us, General. You are really willing to miss such a good opportunity? You agree to do things without benefit. This is not like your style, General." His own doubts came out. Xie Yisho had a knife in his eyes. But this man didn't realize it. He still hoped that Xie Yisho could tell the reason. Xie Yisho rubbed his brows, thinking in his heart that he had tolerated these people too much. Otherwise, if he stood in front of outsiders, he would be frightened and tremble, but these people were not afraid of him. Of course, there is another person who is not afraid of him. I think that when I first met Ming Yu, this person would be able to hook up with him without any rules, and he could even haggle with him with a smiley face. I really don't know this person. Xie Yishuo shook his head. Why did he suddenly think of this person? I have my own plans for this matter. He saw that this person was still unrelenting. And he knew that he had broken the casserole and asked to the end. He has a horse. Master Wen was surprised. He pulled his mustache and asked in surprise, what did you say? Prince Duan has horses? How many? Good horses? He went back and forth twice. No, he. Where did the horses come from? I don't have them yet, but I will have them in half a year. He promised 15 good horses. Xie Yishuo explained with a hint of softness in his cold voice. When Master Wen heard the explanation, he was even more puzzled. No, Xie Yishuo. A master who can't see a rabbit but not a hawk would allow him to owe his debts. Besides, who knows if this Prince Duan is a person who is open-minded? Ordinary horses can be said. But he promised 15 good horses, which is not a small number. Where will he find these good horses? Could it be that he can't find them to the emperor and he can't beg later? In the future, he will also build a horse farm if it is successful. Xie Yishuo's unfinished meaning is obvious. He is not a blind person, and he will not easily believe anything without seeing results. But he heard the feasibility of this plan from Ming Yu's words, and agreed with it. He also investigated clearly the training camp that Ming Yu reorganized in a short period of time, the caravan that is now ready, the villages digging tunnels, and the plan to call on the people to build a strong wall and clear the wilderness, each of which seems incredible in the long run. It turns out it can really solve the problem. What plans are there in the future? Ming Yu didn't reveal too much to him, but it was enough to make him look at it with admiration. Hey, Master Wen's precious mustache was pulled off. And he was surprised. What? A horse farm? Prince Duan wants to build a horse farm? This is a big event. The Dayan Country was short of horses. Everyone knows that the court did not think about building a horse farm at the beginning. But firstly, it cost a lot of money. Second, there were few natural grasslands and abundant water resources in Dayan Country. Thirdly, the Dayan Country is not rich in good horses. And the good horses were stuck in the Shuishi Country and could not enter Dayan Country. Due to these various reasons, in the end, they had no choice but to let it go. The 5,000 warhorses of their Red Robe army were managed with great difficulty, but they were still mixed. If what Xie Yishuo said is true, and Prince Duan can really create a horse farm, then the problem of their warhorses can be solved. At that time, their Red Robe army will add another 30,000 to 50,000 people, and they will be afraid of a mere Shuishi country? Sooner or later, they will attack their royal court and capture the Khan King alive. Can he really build a horse farm? Master Wen asked excitedly. Let's wait and see. Xie Yishuo was very calm. No matter whether Prince Duan could really build a horse farm, it didn't matter to him. Of course, if Prince Duan really came up with a horse farm, then the Red Robe army would also benefit. Master Wen finally walked out of the central army tent in a trance. At this moment, the sky was full of stars and the wind was blowing a little calmer. He looked around, adjusted his robes, and regained his immortal style appearance. He looked up at the sky with his hands on his back, with a mysterious look on his face. A patrol team turned around, and when they saw him, they all saluted and greeted him. The team leader was quite familiar with him and said with a smile, Master Wen watches the sky at night. Do you know when we will have another fight with the Yi people? Master Wen twitched his beard and shook his head. What do you know? It's a big change in the future of Liangzhou, which can be said to be an unprecedented change in the Dayan Country. After speaking, he glanced at a few people and said impatiently, Go, go. Don't bother me if you don't understand. Some people in the team laughed. This Master Wen is selling his shit again. The leader smiled at the young general. The young people naturally don't understand, but Master Wen, last time you counted our General Shia's recent movement of the Red Star. Why hasn't there been any movement yet? When he mentioned this, Master Wen felt that he couldn't hold back his old face, and it was absolutely impossible for him to miscalculate. It's just that looking at their general's icy appearance, I'm afraid he won't be able to catch the joy of Red Star jumping in front of him. Can't blame him for that, can it? After all, he is not the old man. Master Wen snorted twice and said in disgust, "Isn't it time yet? Why are you in a hurry? With our General Shia's ability, it's not a matter of time." That's true. Everyone nodded in unison. Master Wen was proud, and was about to brag a few words, when a cold voice came from the Central Army tent behind him. "Wen Yujiao, if you say one more word, you will also participate in the training tomorrow morning." Ouch! I forgot that it was not far from the Central Army tent. Just now, all their words were heard by the master. It is no wonder that General Xie would make a threat. Wen Yujiao immediately closed his mouth, waved his hand to signal the patrol team to do his own business, and he patted his butt and left sullenly. No matter where the crowd dared to say more, they quickly lined up and left.